Hey, how's it going, Heretics? James here. So, in this episode of Everyday Life of a Tournament Player, I'm going to the Crozius GT. So, I'm going to document from beginning to pretty much end, just do kind of like recaps of the games and things like that. And obviously, I'll talk about these games in the live stream, but I figured that way, because I can't do full battle reports, but I can do like pseudo battle reports or just like a report of the event in general. So tonight we are setting up all the tables. So I volunteered because I have nothing better to do than sit in my hotel room, and the event venue is less than a quarter of a mile away. So which is a real quick, just little walk down the street here, and yeah. And we'll meet some people tonight. We'll share the tables, and yeah. And I'll share my list. You know what? We'll talk about the list before I go into the event. And obviously, it's going to be posted after the event. So and just so you guys know, this event is 100% on BCP. So on the BCP Player app, you guys can actually search events. And if it's a sponsored event, you guys can look at all the lists. You can look at the pairings. You can look at all that fun stuff. Obviously, you can't see the games unless they're live streamed. So if you guys are curious and want to actually see the physical list or see what I played against, I'm going to talk about it, but you guys can actually see the final scores and stuff like that. Journey through my first GT. So stay tuned. Let's go ahead and talk about the list and what I am taking. So I'm going to go ahead and preface this real quick by showing you guys the amount of books that I need to use to play this army. So yes, I have to have Vigilus Ablaze. I have to have the Demonkin book because I needed all the rules for the Venom Crawlers. My Chaos Space Marines book, my Death Guard book, my Chaos Demons book. I've got the data cards, that way for my spells. And then I've got my, always bring your rule book, you know, because rules disputes do happen. Regardless if you go into a GT, you might run into somebody who might not be as familiar with the rules as you. Or you might have a tournament guy that tries to pull something over your eyes. So always have your rule book. Now, so the list I'm bringing, let me go ahead and set. The list I'm bringing today, or for the next 2 days, is my Demon Engines list. Now, the way that it operates, so I'm going to go ahead into a little bit of tech for this list. It operates around a key character called Epidemus. Now, Epidemus allows all your Nurgle Demon keyworded models in your army to get various bonuses, and there's actually 6 bonuses in total. So the first one being reroll ones. So essentially you have a demon prince all over the board for all your units, which is really good. Second one is +1 movement. So sorry if I get these a little mixed up. I know all of them. I just don't know the order that they go in. So the second one is +1 movement. The third one is that the +1? That's +1 strength, yes. The next one is +1 toughness, then +1 attack, then you get to reroll ones for all your disgustingly resilience. Now, that's 6 total bonuses, and they start after you've killed your second full unit with a Nurgle Demon keyworded model. So the beauty of this is that it actually works for Demon Engines, it works for Lord Discordance, it works for literally anything that you can get both the Demon and the Nurgle keywords on. So because I play Chaos Space Marines, I'm able to do that because all my Lord Discords, all my Venom Crawlers, if you run Helldrakes, if you run Defilers, all of these things count for that. So now the way my list works is that I actually picked and chose my units based on the best shooting models that I feel like Nurgle or that Demon Engines have to pick from. And so I picked things that I could get the Nurgle keyword on for Epidemus, and I picked things that had high-powered shooting. Now, I do not have bulk shooting, which is kind of a key flaw in the list, in that I have high-quality shooting. My shooting actually does quite a bit of damage, but everything revolves around random number of shots. So it's incredibly swingy one way or the other. And now the beauty of it is everything in the army that does shoot, it shoots at a minimum of strength 7 to start, actually strength 8 with a Poxbringer nearby, and then it goes all the way up to strength 11, and that's including the Epidemus buff. So the beauty of it is that it handles knights pretty well, I feel, because I actually start out being able to wound them on a 4 with the Plagueburst Crawlers, and then wounding on them on a 3 with my Venom Crawlers. So, and a lot of people put those knights out front not expecting how much damage I can actually do, especially if I start rolling 6s for the wound rolls, which actually, yeah, we'll get into that tech here in a minute. So a lot of strengths. So let me talk about the list real quick, and I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen here. So I start out with a Red Corsairs Spearhead Detachment. Now, the purpose of the Red Corsairs Spearhead Detachment is to give me the +1 CP. That's the first thing. So what it does is it basically washes the CP that I need to get Soulforge Pack and the Warlord trait. Now, the second bonus of that is actually for the Greater Possessed. Now, the Greater Possessed, because they are literally the only thing I have besides Nurglings that can get into buildings, the fact that they can actually move, advance, and charge actually takes a lot of people off guard. Because they actually start out with a movement of 7, and then if I get the Epidemus buff, which is not hard to get up to, I have to have 3 kills to get the bonus. And then their movement 8, so plus D6, and then they can charge on top of that. So they actually move really, really, really fast. The other benefit is that those Greater Possessed then actually increase the strength of the Venom Crawlers near them to strength 9 for their guns on turn 1 if I need them to. Which traditionally, I don't really need. It's more of a nicety than anything. But yeah, if I need it, I have it. And the 2 Lord Discordants, if I need to, I can advance and charge them. Now, that hasn't come into play too often. Generally speaking, I want to have one near the Venom Crawlers for the +1 to hit. So in this list, the Lord Discords are actually more of a support unit than the actual killing unit themselves. Now, the beauty of that, because they are not a key killing unit, a lot of people will go ahead and pick on them first. And, as can be proven by my game against Eldar Flyers, I can actually still win without it, so which is really, really good. Now, yeah, and so the Venom Crawlers are actually very, very powerful shooting units, and on top of it, they put out a boatload of attacks. Between Hateful Assault and then the +1 from Epidemus, they actually get 8 attacks apiece, which is actually incredibly powerful. It actually takes a lot of people off guard. And being that their claws are damage 3 base, AP -3, damage 3. I think they're AP -3. It might be AP -2. But anyways, I always forget the AP on it. But, straight 3 damage and then straight 2 damage from their tentacles, they actually put out a lot of damage. And then they can actually heal 2 every single turn. So when they actually get into things and in later turns, if people have not dealt with them and I actually get my Epidemus tally up, they're really, really hard to kill. Like, really hard to kill. Because then they're toughness 8, and then they're healing up to 2 wounds every single turn. So, real strong. And like I said, a lot of people don't expect what they can do. So, and then we go into a Death Guard Spearhead Detachment. That's my Warlord, the Separating Plate Demon Prince, which is incredibly strong. He has not lost any of his potency. And then I take Arch Contaminator on him to allow those 3 Plague Burst Crawlers to go ahead and reroll all their wounds for pretty much everything. So, which is really, really strong. Really strong in a lot of matchups. Really strong against Marines, because then I can actually reliably put out a lot of wounds on them. Now, Stealthy Marines might... Actually, they don't really have much play against these, because I have to be within 9 inches to do their Flamer thing anyway. So Stealthy doesn't really benefit the Marines against the Plague Burst Crawlers. Now, they would benefit against the Venom Crawlers, functionally making my Venom Crawlers shooting -1. And yeah, well, the beauty is Stealthy does not stack with cover, because it counts as the unit being covered. So, which is nice for me, because that means that the Marines might actually be out in the open. And so, yeah, that's how the Plague Burst Crawlers, I mean, there's not much to say about that. And then we go into the Nurgle Demon Battalion, and that is a Demon Prince with the sword. So I always spend the 1 CP to upgrade to the Corruption Relic, but if I don't need to, I don't have to. But generally speaking, I go ahead and do it anyway, because 1 CP for what that thing can do is really, really strong. On top of it, it gives me a second really sturdy body, because I can go ahead and use the 2 CP stratagem to +1 his invuln, which a 4-up invuln with 5-up Feel No Pain is actually real good. And he's great at tearing down flyers. He's really, really good at getting 2 units up on top floors of ruins and stuff like that. And yeah, he just generally does a lot of damage. And then we got the Poxbringer. So the Poxbringer actually wanders around with the Plague Burst Crawlers, generally speaking, and he has the Fleshy Abundance, so that way he can go ahead and heal the tanks. Now, I could go ahead and swap them. You know, I could give Fleshy Abundance to the Demon Prince if I feel like Eliminators are going to go ahead and knock out the Poxbringer early, and then that way I keep because the heal is probably the most important spell of this list, because the heal can be utilized on literally any model in this entire army. So really, really strong. I kind of want to keep that around. And then I've got Epidemus. Epidemus does what Epidemus does. Usually he is going to be sitting back on an objective. Now, a lot of people have attempted assassination runs on him and have failed. So he's actually incredibly sturdy with the 5-up invulnerable. I can make it a 4-up invulnerable if I really have to. And then, you know, the 5-up feel no pain against like things like snipers. Now, if I'm facing eliminators, I'm going to try to hide Epidemus, you know, on the bottom floor of a building. He does not have the infantry keyword, so if they can draw a line of sight to him, they can shoot him. I did model him in a way that I felt like he's functionally as big as what Epidemus on the Palanquin should be. So I'm not modeling for advantage at all. He is actually a tall model, so... and yeah, so that's what he does. And then I got a bunch of Nurglings. So the Nurglings perform a lot of functions in this list. One, to zone out a lot of threats. So things I fully expect to face a lot of Devastators, Centurions, whether it be Raven Guard or whatever variants. And so the Nurglings allow me to go ahead and zone out things like that from the Raven Guard, you know, Deep Strike Bomb, things like that. You know, zone out Infiltrators. Well, I'm not really worried about infiltrators, but like eliminators and stuff. That way they can't take up spots in the middle of the table, and they have to be back on in my opponent's deployment zone somewhere. I mean, Nurglings are just, they have a lot of functions, a lot of functionality, and they're great at taking objectives, you know, giving me recon points, being engineers. So Nurglings are great units in general. Now, the reason why I took 4-4-3, that way if I do take engineers, I have the 2 4-man units to be my engineer units. I could have just taken like a 5-man unit, but that would actually give my opponent just 1 unit to go ahead and just send everything into. Now, the beauty of this unit is, you know, if they can't see them, which generally can't, they're going to be shooting stuff like whirlwinds at them, or, you know, thunderfire cannons. I'm talking about Marines. And those are all damage 1, right? Which means I get my 5-up invulnerable and then my 5-up feel no pain, which Nurglings are wounded pretty much by everything in the game on 2s anyway. So not really a big deal. And they're going to have to send a lot of firepower out of unit of Nurglings to actually knock them out. Really, if they don't kill at least 2 bases and a shooting phase, they're not going to run away to morale. And even then, I have to roll a 6. Yeah, because they're leadership 7. So I'd have to roll a 6 for even 1 base to run away. And then if they kill 3 bases, then I have to roll a 5 or 6, so 33% chance of the last base running away. But that's making them waste a lot of firepower that they probably don't want to waste on them. And that's firepower that's not going into my Venom Crawlers and the other things in the army that actually kill stuff. So now, gonna go ahead and take the list off there. So now the weaknesses of this list. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover it. There's a lot of tactics stuff. So if you guys don't want to hear this, go ahead and skip forward to where I actually go walk around the venue, which is here in a couple hours from now. So a lot of weaknesses of this list. So one, huge weakness of this list is any army that does not have anything that's easy to secure. So Mono Knights is actually a good example. Mono Renegade Knights is actually a great example of a list that this list might not do very well against. Now, it can scoop up like a couple Moiraxes a turn in the first couple turns between depending on how I roll for the mortars, and then the autocannons, and then the Venom Crawlers cannons. So it really kind of comes down to rolls. I usually blob up the Venom Crawlers, if you guys have noticed, around a Lord Discordant, and I have the Nurgle Demon Prince follow them for the first turn to go ahead and give them reroll 1s. The whole goal of that is to go ahead and secure 2 kills. If I can secure 2 kills, then everything can just kind of splinter off, and then at which case my whole army's rerolling 1s, and everybody just kind of goes and does their own thing. The beauty of the list is that, yes, it does revolve around Epidemus, but Epidemus for a lot of lists is really hard to kill. I've had a lot of people try to do interceptors go after him. I've had people try to do suppressors going after him, and he's lived through everything. So, and the good thing is, if they don't get him in that assassination run, they're actually feeding me free kills. We've seen in battle reports where Genestealer Cult has tried, and Genestealer Cult being probably the one army that could absolutely get him in a turn. So, really strong. He's actually a very strong model for 100 points. And, he is a force multiplier, so if I can start getting those benefits stacked up, my army becomes like a runaway train, which is kind of how it functions, right? Now, some things that I like I said, weaknesses of the list. Imperial Fists will give me a hard time, especially if they get first and there's not a lot of line of sight blocking. So I fully expect if I get Imperial Fists that it's going to be real bad. Iron Hands also could probably be real bad. So the loadout or the I've looked at all the lists that are coming. There's only a couple Eldar players, one Orc player that I saw. Xenos is actually really, really thin, so the Xenos players actually have a good field for actually taking away some awards. For Chaos, there's actually a lot of Chaos. Mine definitely is a standout list. If you guys are looking at the stuff, there's a lot of Knights, a couple people running the Plague Bearer Hordes, and yeah, a lot of Knights. There was one guy running Defilers, which I'm interested to see how he does, and I look forward to meeting all these Chaos players. Actually, there's been a couple of them that said, can't wait to meet you, and can't wait to see those guys. So exchange list ideas and talk about stuff. And then lots and lots and lots of Marines. And then there's 13 Marine players out of 39, I think. So pretty much a third of the field is going to be Marines. And then the rest are Imperium in some way, shape, or form. Now, all of them are running triple. I think almost all of them are running triple Knights or at least a single Knight. So there is a crap load of Knights. Now, what's good for me is that a lot of the Knights players are running like CP batteries, which are great for this list because that means those are easy kills for me to secure, which goes ahead and gets that tally up really, really, really fast. Because literally once I close in, I'm going to start scooping up lots and lots of kills, and then I'm going to be a runaway train for a lot of these lists. And, things like triple Crusader Knights, they want to get close. That way they can start stomping. And which is good for me because those Plague Burst Crawlers can actually kill a Knight in a single turn, depending on how I roll with those Flamers. And when I get those Flamers up, and they start at strength 8 with the Poxbringer nearby, and then if I get that +1 strength from Epidemus, now they're strength 9. I'm wounding you on 3s, rerolling all my wounds. Let's see how many saves you can make against these guys. And I don't care if you rotate Ion Shields because you're taking a 4-up save anyway. So, but yeah. And Imperial Fists and Iron Hands, I think, will be strong against my list because it is incredibly vehicle heavy. Now, I'm not really worried about the Orc matchup because Orcs tend to have a lot of Gretchen. They tend to have this particular list is running a lot of Smasher Guns. So if I can go ahead and get behind buildings and stuff, or if I know we're going to be having a lot of L buildings, which Smasher Guns do not like, because that means it actually gives me somewhere to run those Lord Discordants up behind. And, Lord Discordants moving 14 inches with being able to advance and charge, I could actually scoop up a lot of those really, really fast. And the one Orc list is actually just running the one Shack Attack gun, not 3 Shack Attack guns, which is good for me because, yes, he might secure a kill with it, depending on how he rolls, but Orcs are incredibly, incredibly swingy, just like my list. So I know exactly, but they don't have the resilience of my list, which is great for me. And so that's all going to come down to plays. Good thing for me is that it is a lot of things that I can scoop up real fast. They don't really have. He's not running the Ludobomb. He is running the what are they? Tank Busta Bomb, which is strong against me, but at the same point, if I can get first, or if I zone out with the Nurglings, I can stop that Tank Busta Bomb from getting to anything super good, because, you know, then they might be able to scoop up a couple Venom Crawlers or something like that. They're not gonna, on average dice, they're not gonna kill a Plague Burst Crawler, which is really good for me. And then once I actually start stacking that Epidemus tally, orcs have a very hard time with their shooting, killing toughness 9 Venom Crawlers, because you know, other than their shock attack gun, everything else is going to have a very hard time. You know, smashy guns on 2d6, their chances of rolling a 9 or above is a lot less than rolling an 8 or above. And I've faced a lot of smashy guns, and toughness 8 vehicles actually do very well against smashy guns. So, and then the Eldar lists that I'm seeing, they have flyers, and one has a bunch of Reapers, that's a really interesting game to me. But luckily, PBCs tend to do very well against Reapers, because being AP -2, D3 damage apiece at strength 8, rerolling all wounds, and then rerolling my hits, my hit rolls of 1. You know, average rolls are 3 to 4 shots with the PBC, so I'll hit with 1 or 2, and then that means it's about 2 dead Reapers on average. And so I can just slowly pick away at those units, and then, you know, once I get into flamer range, start, you know, blowing up a bunch of stuff. So and then, yeah, so, but we'll see how the list does. And this is going to be a real long video, so hope you guys are settled in. And we'll go see the venue next when it opens up, and I'm going to go help set up terrain. So we'll talk about the tables, and we'll meet a few guys. Alright, so we're at the so this is the Mace Gaming Convention. So that's actually what it is, the Mace Gaming Convention that we're at. So go ahead and face this down. Alright. Battletech's being played. So these are all the games being played here. What time does it receive? Literally wall of games. Pretty fun. They got all sorts of stuff. They got Pathfinder. They've got, you know me, I love board games. They actually have Battletech Classic being played, so I might have to see if I can get in on that. Let's see. Yeah, green. So they're dot colored, so it looks like green is open, yellow is half full, and red is full, meaning that people have signed up, enough people to play. Man, there's a Dragon Ball Z RPG. That's pretty cool. I love Dragon Ball Z. So, yeah, take a look at some of these games maybe. Wait for the Warhammer guys to get here. Let's see, where else we have. Oh, man. There's a couple guys here playing demo games that I've never seen, so I might actually swing in. Let's see. Empire Room? Don't know. So there we go. So they've got the rooms and they're actually labeled, so that's pretty cool. This is my first GT, or con, so let's see. Recon 2020, tabletop experience. Oh, nice. It's another one that's going on, so they have a flea market somewhere. So these are all the, looks like a bunch of different, yeah, they've got Munchkin, they've got all sorts of stuff, so. Ooh, Mansions of Madness. I love Mansions of Madness. So, luckily today we're not playing Warhammer, so I might play something else. Oop, sorry. Okay. Dealer room. Ooh, I'm gonna go look at some stuff for sale. So, as y'all can see, just gonna kind of peek in. So, a bunch of stuff for sale. So it looks like it literally just started. So just kind of giving an overview. So Pathfinder, okay. Don't really play Pathfinder, so. But yeah, and it looks like, I think right here is the Warhammer room. Maybe. Nope, that's D&D. I don't know what it is, but I seem to find the Necromancer armies. Warhammer Underworlds, there you go. Here's the Warhammer Underworlds. It's a miniature war games room. So this is the room that we will be playing in. Yeah, Warhammer 40k. So, and they've got it closed right now, so we will have to come back. Yeah, so this is our schedule for tomorrow. So I'm going to go wander around and look at some of these other games, and I will be back when we set up the event. So stay tuned. All right, so we spent 2 hours putting up tables-ish. So they are using the Nova format style terrain. So here and over there are functional forests. So we kind of made like a forest or something you can get cover in. And then in the corners are ruins, ruins or line of sight blocking things. And then in the middle are L's. So, but yeah, they have different types of L's. And so, but all the tables more or less are set up the same. They tried to we tried to make sure. Oh, we got some pieces here. We'll have to figure those out. But yeah, super nice. And so many tables. And there's Kevin BS and some other guys. And that's Jordan. Say hi, Jordan. Hi, Jordan. Hey. And there we go. So see you guys tomorrow. So here we are, the morning of the GT. I'm the only one in the room. But I woke up super early. If you can't tell, my eyes are a little. But I was so excited, like I just could not stay asleep. So, you know, sometimes you just can't. So hopefully it doesn't affect my gameplay. We'll see what ends up happening. However, I did allow me. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys my display board. And so, as you guys can see, it's able to go ahead and just set everything up. So I like the way that looks. And so, yeah, that's how it let me kind of plan it out. That way, I took a picture of it. That way I can reset it up for when they take photos for Best Painted or however they're going to do it. So neat thing is, let's go over here to the prize table. So just showing like some of the prize support that they got going on here. So can win a power sword. I really like this power sword because it's chaosy enough, you know. And then there's a bolt gun, a Crozius back there. I guess the handle to that one falls off, so they warned us about it. And then they also have 3 trophies. I think one's Best Xenos, and I'm guessing Best, yeah, I don't know how they're going to do them, but, and then they actually have like boxes and boxes and boxes of just stuff. Like they said pretty much everybody's going to get something, which is really neat. And then there's also stuff that we get for just showing up. So pretty excited about this. For the videos today, or they're not really going to be quite videos. It's going to be more or less still shots of the games as I progress, because I really need to focus, and then just kind of talk to my opponent after the game. And, you know, kind of like how I did the last one. So really excited about this. Can't wait to get it done. And, yeah, bring you this video. So wish me luck. All right, so here we are pre-tournament. I'm taking videos of a few armies, so that way you guys can get some cool chaos ideas. So this is James McCoy's Thousand Suns. And check out his Magnus. That's so cool. So these are his Defilers. He's got a Helldrake. So that's a Helldrake conversion right there. Defiler, other Defiler, a little Discordant. He's got all of his Zangors under there. He's got his Terminators with Ahriman up top. And then his other Oh, Drake. Thanks so much, James.
No problem.
Here's my buddy Heretics Chaos List.
No, I'm playing Modifaction. I'm the only. I'm trying to go from top.
Oh, check that out. That is so cool.
I've been playing Modifaction Death Guard for like 6 months.
I love what he did with his Lord of Change.
If I can even just put myself in the top 20,
So
actually, I'd be happy.
fantastic. I'm gonna get more shots of his Lord of Change. He's still working on it, but now it's awesome. So, here's my buddy Riddick. So this is Connor. He's playing Thousand Suns with Knights.
It's Chaos Soup.
Chaos Soup. Okay, Chaos Soup. But check out his Moiroxes. Those are freaking cool.
Those are proxies for warp lightning guns.
Yeah. No, I would not argue that. That's super cool. No, I love those. So I'm trying to share ideas with because I run just Chaos YouTube. So ideas. Is that your Magnus or Demon Prince? Okay.
That's a Demon Prince.
Okay. But
It's
that's
the 30K one?
Yeah, the 30K Magnus. That's awesome. No, you did a great job. Fantastic.
And then I have different heads for the Helverins. They have the birds of prey because they're anti-air.
I love that. No, that's awesome. I love how you themed it. So, and I love the how you put the Anubis head on him.
Yeah.
So, no, that's freaking cool. Great, Connor. That's awesome. So game one of this tournament sees me play against Jacob Day. So Jacob Day is running 3 Crass Crusaders with the relic that allows him, the Endless Fury relic, and then he also is rerolling 1s with his Warlord trait. He didn't spend any really CP on any extra Warlord traits or relics, which was unusual, but he did have a ton of CP, pretty much to pour into stratagems. He was running a Skitarii battalion, and then on top of that, he was running a Space Marines battalion with some scouts, a Smash captain, and a librarian. And so the game was really, really good. The very first turn, it was kind of back and forth. I was able to just almost plink a knight. I think I put one at 9 wounds. And then, I killed, I think, a scout unit, and the Skitarii are really, really resilient. Graias Skitarii guys, they just, even with my mortars, doing D3 wounds, the fact that they can just roll a single D6 and then not go down, it is what it is. And sometimes they just don't die even when you do a ton of wounds. So, but anyways, so the first turn, was kind of a wash for both of us. Then the second turn, things started heating up. He was able to kill a single Plague Burst Crawler, and luckily I rolled really well for one of the Venom Crawlers, and it did not even take a wound. And then he killed a Lord Discordant. So that was turn 2. Turn 3, things kind of went the other way for me. So I started actually picking up stuff. I was able to put one knight at 3 wounds, his commander knight. I believe I killed him turn 3. It might have even been turn 4. And then I was starting to actually amplify my tally pretty quickly. A big swinging point between turn 2 and turn 3 was when he dropped in his captain, or his librarian and his captain failed an 8-inch charge even with a reroll on a 3. So he rerolled he rolled a 4 and a 3 to charge me, and then he rerolled the 3 into a 1. So got really, really lucky there because he was running for Epidemus. The librarian made it into Epidemus. Epidemus didn't kill the librarian. I put the librarian at 1 wound. And then in the following turn, I went ahead and killed pretty much all the rest of the Space Marines. And yeah, that was that. So it was a really good game. I could have squeaked out an extra few points had I played out through turn 6. But I don't know. I feel bad about milking points out of games. I probably need to get over that. So, great game. Let's hear the afterthoughts. Hey, how's it going, Heretics? This is Jake. So Jake was my knight opponent from round 1. What'd you think of the game?
It was really fun. It was good. The Tallyman is surprisingly, like, it snowballs really hard if it gets going. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, and it kind of boiled down to you failed a charge, so he had the +1 to charge Warlock.
Yeah. I had a Smash Captain come in. I failed the charge, even with the reroll, and he had Might of Heroes on him. He would have had all these extra attacks, and
So he made a run at Epidemus, and then failed. His Librarian made it. I didn't kill the Librarian, and then the following turn it just kind of fell apart because I was able to kill pretty much all of his knights, Smash Captain, everything else. So, yeah, a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, it was really, like, most everything is dead. That's how it should be at the end.
Yeah, I've got like a Venom Crawler and a Plague Burst Crawler. So. No, great game, man, and I hope to play again.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thanks.
So game 2 saw me play Jonathan Herrera, and he was playing a Taunar. Now, a Taunar Supremacy suit is a giant super heavy. It's like 1,200 points of a list, but it has just, its guns are just ridiculous. It has 2 like ion pulse guns that he can overcharge for 3d3 shots apiece, strength 8, 3 damage. Or he can go ahead and, or he has his giant cannon on top. Plus, it has a bunch of SMS and a bunch of burst cannons and all sorts of jazz. So, now this game kind of boiled down to the fact that I made a few key mistakes. One was I mistook the base size of his ethereal. So when I had charged in, well, let's start from turn 1, I guess. So the first few turns were pretty good for me. I was able to actually get my tally up to 4 just on turn 1 alone, and that was through killing a ton, pretty much almost all of his troops. I think he had just a few Fire Wars after that, or Pathfinders, or whatever they are. And I didn't really start picking on drones because I knew I didn't want to shoot the Supremacy suit to have him knock it off on the drones, so I was saving the drones until I could actually get stuff up there to kind of handle them. Now, part of this was he deployed first and got to choose who went first, which I knew he was going to go first, and so I had to counter deploy and deployed both Lord Discordants and all 3 of the Venom Crawlers in the bottom right corner of the table, which was literally the only line of sight blocking piece of terrain. Now, had we gotten like a spearhead deployment or something like that, I would have actually been able to hide in the Nova L, and that actually would have been a lot better for me. But it is what it is. When you get Dawn of War against Tau, it's usually not good for you. And yeah, that Supremacy suit is huge. Turn 1, he Montcod and moved everything to the right side of the table, so basically away from the Lord Discordants and the Venom Crawlers, and where I had hidden them, because the Supremacy suit is so large, he was able to actually see 2 of the Venom Crawlers. He killed one, it blew up, and I rerolled it into a not blow up, and then I got lucky and the second one didn't die. And then from there, the game kind of, like I said, I got 4 tally turn 1, and then the game kind of went back and forth. Like I said, a key misplay was me charging one of my... So there was two really big misplays. The first one, he had some Graviton drones, which I've never seen. And so I had declared a charge, which I want to say the Graviton drones were in one of the other units. If they were their own unit, I probably should have picked them out first. So, but they reduce your charge by D3 if you're within 12 inches of them. So I had declared a charge on one of his Tau commanders. Now, he was not running Tau Sept. He was running Drakith or something like that. Basically, he's in cover if he doesn't move, which the Supremacy suit's not going to be moving. And he said normally he doesn't move the drones, but he had to in the case of our game. And so I declared a charge on his commander, and his commander was maybe 5 inches from me. And I rolled a 6-inch charge, and then he reduced my charge by 3 inches. So, and I was out of CP at that point. I did make a ballsy play with that same Demon Prince. I hopped him in and actually used 3 CP for Nurgle's Rot. Never, ever used it. It was probably not a good play. It blew up and only killed like 4 or 5 drones, and that was about it. So, but anyways, and then I made the misplay with the Ethereal. I mistook his base size, and I accidentally based the Ethereal, so I couldn't pile into the Taunar, which I would have had a chance to, and that completely would have swung the game the other way for me, and I would have gotten the win. And then it all boiled down to basically the very, very last turn. He was able to charge his drones over my Plague Burst Crawler. I put it in the way to try to force him not to get on the objective. And he was able to kill off pretty much all my Nurglings. Yeah, he killed all the Nurgling bases that turn. And in response, I was able to kill his one of his tower commanders. And that left him with... No, I killed both tower commanders. Yeah, so it left him with an ethereal and a supremacy suit and a few drones. So it was an incredibly bloody game. Let's hear the after game thoughts.
All right, so game 2, I lost to the town hall. So Josh barely. So 29-28, Josh.
Yeah.
So very, very close. It actually came down to the very last turn where he actually got the bonus point because I was not able to kill any drones with a Greater Possessed.
And my drone killed his Greater Possessed.
Yep, which gave him a point.
They actually
had I not charged, oh yeah, it would have been a tie. So oh well. Lesson learned. No, great game. What do you think?
Very good, very good. You had me on the ropes for a good 4 or 5 turns.
Yeah.
Hard. You were ahead by a lot.
Yeah, nope. It definitely came down to the end, and my secondaries. I picked Headhunter. I don't know why I picked Headhunter.
I don't know why either. I only have 3 characters.
I don't. Well, you picked Kingslayer.
That was my bait. That was Mr.
There you go. We both made a mistake. So. No, great game, buddy.
A really good game.
Great game. All right. John again. And so one thing he did not know his drones were strength. He thought his drones. Yeah, he thought that they were strength 4 and they were strength 3. So I saw his dice and I was like, oh shit, he only did 1 wound, which was the difference between a draw and a win for him. So he is a great sportsman. I talked to him. He walked back the point, so we got a draw.
Of course.
Draw. I mean, it's not a loss. So.
That as long as it's not a loss.
I know, exactly. That's all that matters. So,
well,
thank you, buddy.
No problem.
Appreciate it. So,
no problem.
You see this guy? Good player. Play him.
I'm going to cheat you out of points.
No.
Come on.
So game 3 sees me play against my friend Alan Blakeman. So Alan Blakeman owns the Red Barn, and you guys will hear me talk about it a lot because I actually purchase a lot of secondhand models from them because he has a very, very good secondhand selection. Where the store is based, a lot of people sell some pretty good models. Now I did just buy 2 Helldrakes from him, and they weren't in as good of shape as I would have hoped, but for over 30% off, I can't complain. Just do a little bit of repair work, right? So now this game, I'm going to caveat, I got Iron Hands. 100%. So I got first turn, and so I will say probably part of the mistake of this game was, and there was really no way around this, so he was playing a list with 9 units of scouts, and then, some Thunderfire cannons and other stuff. And so the way his list plays is he gets to deploy the 9 units of scouts first before he deploys anything that's really important. So pretty much he could counter deploy me. So on my left flank, which is probably the wrong flank I did this on, I deployed the 3 Venom Crawlers and the 2 Lord Discordants. I probably should have done the PBCs on that side and the Venom Crawlers on the other side, but hindsight's always 20/20, right? And then, anyways, so the game kind of boiled down. So turn 1, I literally killed an attack bike and 2 scouts. Alan's saves were really good, and my rolls were really, really terrible. Either I was failing the wound. As an example, I shot 2 full Venom Crawlers, rolled really poorly for the shots, and only did 2 wounds to a single speeder. So now he did pop the stratagem where it gets Jink, so 4-up invulnerable save, which helped a lot. But the few things that did sneak through, I rolled really, really bad, really, really low for the rolls there. And it also had the Ironstone, which I did not realize until I actually wounded it, and he told me. So I don't know if that was a misplay or something there, or he just failed to mention it. So, and yeah, really bad first turn. His first turn, he killed a Lord Discordant, which I did not realize that the auto cannon from the Invictus Warsuits was 6 shots, which is pretty ridiculous. But there's a lot of ridiculous things in the new Marine Codex. But that's just one of them. And yeah, so he killed a Lord Discordant, heavily wounded a Venom Crawler. And so the key of turn 1, and I think this is kind of where I knew the game was not going to be my game. He shot 10 scouts into Epidemus and left him at 1 wound. Yes, he rolled that well for the mortal wounds, and I rolled that poorly for the saves. I even spent 2 CP to give him a 4-up invulnerable save, and I think I made literally 1 save. It was really, really, really bad. And then he was able to see 4 more scouts into him, and they put him down. So they were able to do 2 more wounds to him, and he died. Really, really, really bad because he had another 25 scouts to shoot at other things. And so turn 2, I thought I might be able to make a play. And so I moved all 3 Venom Crawlers up as far as I could. He did use the Tremor Shells on my last Lord Discordant, so it could only move 6 inches. And then I didn't realize it also has your advance and charges. So literally the Discordant couldn't do anything. So I just moved him in a position to support the Venom Crawlers. And then, started shooting at stuff. I was able to scoop up some scouts. Literally, that's all I knew I could really honestly get. And I was trying to... At this point, it wasn't even building the tally. At this point, it was like, well, what can I actually kill? Because I was trying to thin out. He was heavily loaded on the left side. I was heavily loaded on the right side with the Plague Burst Crawlers. And I just figured, okay, maybe I can secure the right side and force the game to move over there. However, so the Venom Crawlers, once again, I rolled really super low for their number of shots. It was really bad. I killed a couple suppressors and some scouts. Venom Crawlers, so I was rolling like 9-10 shots for the Venom Crawlers and shooting scouts in cover, and he was making so many 4-up saves that, so let's say I did 8 wounds, he would fail 2 saves. And yeah, so I wasn't killing like anything. It was really, really bad. And so I tried to charge, so I was like, okay, I'm going to charge these Venom Crawlers because they were all close. They were within like 6 and 7 inches of his scouts, and charge them. And I failed all my charges except for 1. Yes. And then, so the one Venom Crawler that did make it did not kill the whole scout squad. He killed 2 scouts in the squad he charged into. He was outside of Lord Discordant's range, and then not having the reroll 1s from Epidemus was just salt in the wound there, right? His turn 2, really, really bad for me. He killed all 3 Venom Crawlers, the other Lord Discordant. He killed my Greater Possessed on the left side of the table. He killed the Demon Prince on the left side of the table because he fought twice with this dude with a relic power axe that was strength 8, straight 3 damage. It was nutty. He got like 12 attacks, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, winning me on 3s. There was nothing I could do. And yeah, the one good thing about this entire game, he shot a unit of Grav Sense 3 straight turns using the stratagem into a single Plague Burst Crawler before he finally killed it. So that was probably the one thing that went right. So turn 2 saw me literally lose everything except for I had the 3 Plague Burst Crawlers and the Demon Prince and a single Greater Possessed. So almost 1,500 points on my list was just gone. At this point, I had killed just a handful of scouts, and I was super discouraged. A little bit of salt was dripping out, and I apologized to Alan. I was like, man, this is just like no fun. He's like, well, you could concede. And I was like, no, I need to get some points. Because, I knew there was absolutely no way I was going to win. I seriously maybe killed 300 points at this point. So it was like 1,700 points against like 500 points in my list. No, I know it was like closer to 6, but anywho, so turn 3, I killed like multiple units. I actually killed like 4 units that turn. Oddly enough, I finally actually killed stuff, but at this point it was way too late. And yeah, it just rolled downhill from there. He killed a Plague Burst Crawler, which left me on 1 objective, so he was holding more at this point, and it just all steamrolled down from there. In the end, Alan was a really cool guy. I'm glad that I finally got to meet him, and so let's go ahead and listen to the post-game thoughts.
Hey, how's it going, Heretics? So here with Alan, he's laughing. So he leaf blowed me, right?
Well, yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
You failed 3 major charges, and
Yeah.
it was bad from there on
Yeah,
out.
so pretty much he killed 1,500 points by turn 2, and I failed a lot of stuff, and he killed me.
Yep.
And that was the game.
It was a great game. You were a great sport. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was getting salty there, like turn 2. He
It's
was like,
okay.
if you just want to call it, I was like, well, I need to try to get some points, and he's like, well, I get it, and I was like, I don't know what to do. But no, thanks, Alan.
Okay.
And thank you.
You're welcome.
He's the one that sold me Mortarion,
Yep.
and soon to be 2 more Helldrakes.
And Drakes, and we have the Barnyard Brawl in 2 weeks. And We
Okay.
have about 6 slots open, so come on over.
Yeah, come on over. So I can't make it, but you guys can.
There you go. You can rep for him and get.
There you go. There you go. Maybe you'll do better than me.
Okay.
All right. See you next time, man.
All right. Thanks, James.
Yeah.
So game 4 sees me playing against Connor Long. So Connor is running a Thousand Suns battalion. He's got Ahriman, he's got the Demon Prince, he's got a Knight Castigator, and then a bunch of Moirox War Dogs plus 2 Helvern War Dogs. So this game kind of boiled down to a few key errors on Connor's end. So the first error that he made was he did not realize that knights cannot walk through infantry. He thought that they could. This is literally I guess he just finished these knights, and he really hadn't gotten much of a chance to play with them, so he wasn't too familiar with the rules. I was curious as to why he deployed that way, but I figured maybe he had a game plan, so I wasn't going to correct him on it. But after talking to him at the end of the game, he's like, yeah, I thought that I could just walk over the wall of gores. So that was key error number 1. Error number 2, so he actually ended up spending so the way that when I deploy, or it was 1-in-1 deployment. No, this was all in one. So I went ahead and got to deploy first and choose who went first. And so, sorry about that. What the hell? Went ahead and deployed first, and when he counter deployed me, he deployed all 3 Moiroxes in the middle, and then on the left flank he deployed the Helverns, which is always a good thing to put them in the corner. Well, the issue with this deployment style was that he put them on the side with the Plagueburst Crawlers. So he did not have the Helverns to shoot at the Demon Engines that he could actually wound. Now, he ended up spending all the Moirox and the Helverns actually killing Nurglings. The Nurglings actually were a big pain. Oddly enough, Nurglings, even though the Moiroxes were doing like 10 wounds on average to them, with a 5-up invulnerable save, with a 5-up feel no pain, on average he was killing a base per Moirox. So, which is really, really good for me, because he actually ended up spending most of his guns doing that. Now, the Moiroxes towards the end did kill like a Lord Discordant and I think a Venom Crawler. But yeah, the Nurgle engines, though, they proved to be incredibly resilient. And the Plagueburst Crawlers did a lot of work. His Demon Prince, even with the Diabolic Strength on him, just could not kill a single PVC. Now, I did heal it back 5 wounds, but yeah, in the end, I was able to... He pretty much went into my left corner. He was trying to deny me the bonus point by just essentially contesting that objective. But the way that Mission 4 reads is that you just have to hold the objective at any point, so either during your opponent's or your turn, so to get the bonus. So I was able to scoop up a lot of bonus points for doing that. And the game went the full 6 turns, but yeah, in the end, I was able to table Connor. He was a great opponent, a lot of fun, beautiful army, ended up winning Best Painted, so congratulations, man.
Hey, Heretics, so here with Connor. Say hi, Connor.
Hey.
So Connor was playing Thousand Sun Knights, and they look amazing, as you guys could see in the beginning of this video. So what did you think of the game?
It was good. It was definitely a learning process. I've never played against what's it called, Dark Mechanicum with engineers and everything. I've never played against this much threat on turn 2. I thought I was in the clear turn 1, not taking that many wounds. But then turn 2 came around and he was starting to take the lead.
Yeah. So I think a big thing, and we kind of talked it out. He removed all the Nurglings really, really early, but at the same point, he ignored the things that were going to kill him, and it was just I'm fast. I mean, venom crawlers move fast. So it was a great game, buddy, and his army looks amazing. So you guys can rewind this and keep watching it over and over and over again. So, thanks, Connor. Good game, man.
Good game.
So for my last game, I ended up playing Charles Craig. So Charles Craig is from the Beast Coast, and that is I think it's like a team. I don't know. There's so many Beast Coast players over on the East Coast, but I think that there's just a team of guys all over the East Coast that just play 40K, and then they're just part of the Beast Coast team, and I'm sure they share strats and stuff like that. But so great player. He had an interesting Raven Guard list. He had a bunch of Eliminators, a bunch of Sniper Scouts. He had the Warlord, or one of his captains had the Ex Tenebris, the Sniper Rifle Relic, but he did not take the Warlord trait. Now, his Smash Captain did have 2 Warlord traits, and the Deny Overwatch, and there was another one, I think, Reroll Charges. But and a Mastercrafted Thunderhammer. So Mastercrafted Thunderhammers are just brutal. And then a unit of Centurion Devastators with, not Devastators, Assault Centurions, and then 2 Invictus Warsuits. Now, this game started out really interesting. So I got first deployment, and it's 1-in-1 deployment. So I deployed Nurglings out in the middle of the table between the 2 L's. Now, the reason why I did this is I wanted to see where he was going to kind of dedicate his army. So he went ahead and he deployed a unit of scouts off to the left of the Nurglings, so on the top side of the table. And so then I went ahead and deployed my second unit of Nurglings, 4, on the right side. Now, the key reason why I did this was, A, I wanted to deny the Centurion Devastators a way to get to anything big, and then B, it allowed me to counter deploy. Now, I could have done this a lot better. The reason why I deployed the way that I did, and you guys can see in the photo, I deployed the PBCs, 2 of them spread out pretty far, about 10 inches apart on the top side of the table, on the left side of my deployment zone, and that was because I know the Centurion Devastators, they have to end their movement on their scout move 9 inches away from enemy models. But I was not entirely sure if that meant that he could then move into my deployment zone, because I was pretty sure they could. So yeah, I was at a loss because I was like, well, I need to prevent him from actually like advancing into my deployment zone and then just like sweeping through me with the Devastators. So I put the Plague Burst Crawlers on the side because at this point I knew that the Centurion Devastators and all that were going to be coming in on the left side, because he started putting like a scout wall there. So I put the PBCs over there, and then on the opposite side I put all the Demon Engines. And now he did have a Repulsor Executioner, which made things a lot harder, because that thing was throwing down firepower, and I don't like Repulsor Executioners. But turn 1 and turn 2 were really brutal. So turn 1, he was able to kill my Warlord Demon Prince with his Warlord Smash Captain, and then in reverse I killed the Smash Captain, because so he ended up spending all of his CP in turn 1 between stratagems, his Warlord swinging twice, blah 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 blah. But he was able to touch all 3 PBCs, which meant none of them could shoot. But a key part of this turn was he was literally only able to kill a unit of Nurglings, and he killed my Demon Prince Warlord. My turn, I killed his Centurion Devastators, an Invictus Warsuit, his Warlord. The Invictus Warsuit did blow up, by the way, which killed the last Centurion and actually damaged quite a bit of my stuff. And I was not able to kill his other Invictus Warsuit. I tried my best, but my Venom Crawler decided to shit the bed, more or less. I think I hit all 5 attacks, because they get 5 attacks on the charge, and wounded with 2. So I only did like 6 wounds to it. And then it swung back and actually hurt the Venom Crawler pretty heavily. But they ended up like wet noodle fighting for like 3 turns. So before they both killed each other. Anyways, so went ahead. The second turn, we were both able to tie. We drew objectives and drew kills. And then third turn, I was able to kill more again because his dice did abandon him, and he was only able to kill one model, and I was able to kill quite a bit. At this point, I actually killed quite a few characters. I killed both tech priests. I killed almost all of his scouts. He was down to just 7 eliminators. At this point, he had no tech priests. He had one captain and the repulsor and his thunderfire cannon. Now, I was not able to... at this point, the repulsor was really taking a toll on my army. I had a lot of stuff that had 1 or 2 wounds left. And his final turn rolled around. His eliminators decided to not wound... they wounded Epidemus once, which left Epidemus with 1 wound. So Epidemus was a boss this game. He withered through just so many sniper shots. So I was able to... Well, not going to lie. Charles's dice helped. But... yeah, my saves also were pretty on point. So, and yeah, it was overall a great game. Ended on turn 4. We talked it out, and I ended up winning by 1 point. Charles was a great opponent. I want to apologize because I did ask quite a few rules questions because, like, for example, he was having what are they? The infiltrators, with the Raven Guard trait, he thought that they auto-wounded on 5s when they hit. I was like, are you sure it's not unmodified? So we had to go through, look at the rule book. So there's quite a few times where we had to stop and look up rules. He was still getting familiar with his list, but no, a lot of fun, great game. And yeah, had it gone much further, I'm pretty sure I was going to get tabled. Also, I didn't know that Raven Guard had a stratagem for 1 CP to booby trap a objective. So that booby trap did like 10 mortal wounds to different things because I had to keep swapping characters that were holding that objective because of the booby trap. I'm pretty sure it only supposed to trigger 1 time, but I wasn't gonna stop and ask because obviously we didn't get through the whole game. And he read directly from his digital codex what it said, so didn't have time to look at a fact or anything. But no, great game, Charles, and look forward to playing you again.
Look at this guy.
Jeez.
Look at this guy.
That was nuts.
Last game of the tournament. So 20 to 21.
Yeah.
We ended on turn 3. Turn 4. Turn 4. It was brutal. I have a PVC at 1 wound, 2 Greater Possessed at 1 and 2 wounds, Epidemus at 1, a Venom Crawler at 1, and he has a Repulsor and some Eliminators.
Yeah, that was a bloody game.
It was. No, it was a great game. I had a lot of fun. What did you think about it?
I think I need better dice.
Yeah. He's got a random hotspot.
Your dice were pretty nice. But
in the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean,
near the end, everything started kind of going downhill for both of us.
Yeah.
So,
no, it was fun though. It was a lot of fun.
No, it was a great game. You played it well.
Yeah.
I couldn't capitalize on having first turn.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get to play again, man.
Yeah.
It was a great game. I'll see you around.
You gonna be at Pro Tabletop?
I will not.
Okay.
I will not. So, Nurgle Demon Engines will not grace the Pro Tabletop.
All right.
Good luck, buddy. Good luck.
You too.
Talk to you again.
All right, Heretics. So there was the Crozius GT. 5 rounds over 2 days in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I want to go ahead and send a shout out to Field of Fire Gaming. This was their first GT, and they did a really good job. One of the recommendations I made for them is Best in Faction Awards, because I was super hoping, because I actually did have the highest chaos list, and that was actually my goal going into the event, was to get best chaos. So I would have achieved that goal. But no, they had a lot of prize support, which was really cool. And everybody there got a prize. Now, it wasn't a participation thing. They said that that's not what they wanted to do. But everybody had traveled to their very first GT. And regardless, you know, the guys at the very bottom of the heap, you know, the 38th, 39th, and 40th place, they still got something. Like, they got secret, secret weapon miniature bases and stuff like that. So it was still, you still got something, you know. So it was worth the time to come out to play and spend all the money. Because obviously, being a 40K player, we don't really make a lot of money when you win stuff, so it's just good to win a prize. It feels good. And yeah, told him print out certificates or something. I would have been happy. I would have been happy with just a certificate saying best chaos player. So, because then I'll put it up on the wall behind me, you know. But no, thank you guys. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, I had a lot of fun. So I finally made it back home. It took me 4.5 hours. That's why I'm recording this the next day. Now, so thoughts on the overall event. So all my opponents were amazing opponents. So round one, Jacob, great player. It was his first GT too, so I was glad to get paired up with somebody where literally it was our very first GT game. And it was a lot of fun. He learned a lot, and I learned a lot. And we talked a lot about various ways that he could tweak his list. And yeah, so I wish Jacob the best, and I know that he's planning on going to ATC this year, and he's doing a lot more GT. So good luck, Jacob. I hope you do well, man. My second round opponent, Jonathan, so he ended up taking second place overall, and he actually thanked me after the tournament. He's like, you know, actually, because that turned into a draw, it's what gave me second place, because then he didn't have to play against the top contender, who was pretty much crushing everybody with his Raven Guard. So, so congratulations to Jonathan for second place. He actually got a Warcry set as his reward. So, because he came in 5th or 6th overall, something like that. But that's a really, really good prize. That was actually one I had my eye on. If for some reason it got all the way down to me, so because I love the terrain in that set. So that the terrain in that set's really cool. But congratulations, Jonathan. That game was really, really tight. I made a few key mistakes, which kind of why we got into a draw. Same thing. He played really, really well, and I couldn't actually touch the town hall. I guess there was a couple chances I could have, and there was a few things that I did wrong where I had a chance to do it and I didn't. And yeah. Did learn a lot though. That was only my second time playing the Town R. I did not realize it could not Tau Overwatch. That's the first time I've played that sept. I did not realize that it could Monka with everything else. So me trying to play KG and hiding on the Demon Engines, while it did help out, it did not ultimately help out, if that makes any sense. And yeah, it hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s with all of its big guns, yeah, can definitely hurt. But the Demon Engines are incredibly resilient. He actually mentioned that. He's like, wow, this was a lot harder than it looked going into it. So, great game, Jonathan. I had a lot of fun and look forward to playing you in the future. My third round opponent, Alan. Me and Alan have been friends for a very, very long time. On Facebook, actually. We got hooked up. I can't even remember how, because I get random Facebook friends. And it's great to finally meet him. I've bought quite a few miniatures from the Red Barn, which he owns. And he actually did bring me 2 Helldrakes. I actually bought 2 Helldrakes from him, and he brought them up. So, but congratulations. Alan ended up taking 3rd overall. And yes, he handed me my ass. Literally handed me my ass. And he felt bad. He's like, man, I just wish, like, the first time we meet and play that it wasn't this bad. But you can't help dice, and you can't help that Iron Hands just put out a punishing, withering amount of firepower. I was a little bit salty, obviously post game and in my comments afterwards, because I think Marines, like, there's a lot of things that they overtooled them on. One thing with Iron Hands that I was like, this is kind of ridiculous, is he had snipers hiding behind walls, and then they would pop out behind the walls, still shooting at ballistic skill 3, rerolling 1s, and he had 40 of them. So, just weight of shots of snipers, he was bound to put something down. And I tried to hide Epidemus the best I could, but yeah, even though I got first, I should have advanced Epidemus maybe further up, because him dying turn 1 was really, really bad. Now, I did not expect 14 shots from snipers to put down Epidemus, because they wound on 5s, and they still have to hit him on 3s, even if they are rerolling 1s, but obviously I was wrong. So, but congratulations to Alan. Obviously he's a great player. His list is really unique, and I'm not the only one that felt the biting sting of the Iron Hands. So congratulations, Alan. Game 4 against Connor. Connor ended up going and winning Best Painted. Now, I went on and on and on and on about his Thousand Suns Knights. They are so gorgeous. Took a bunch of pictures, talked to him heavily about it. Yeah, stealing ideas. Sorry, Connor, stealing ideas. And yeah, we talked about his army. He's got like 60,000 points of Thousand Suns, and he's painting them all to that standard. So fantastic. And that's his goal. His goal is to have one of every model of Thousand Suns painted to that standard, and pretty much have the largest Thousand Suns army in the world. That's his goal. So if you keep it up, man, you're well on your way. So congratulations on Best Painted, and he was just learning the list. Now, that game, there was a lot of key mistakes. I'll go into it here in a bit. I just want to thank my opponents first. And then my round 5 opponent, Charles. So Charles was from the Beast Coast team, so you guys have heard about them. They're all over the East Coast here. Great player. It boiled down to we got through turn 3, and then he's like, hey, let's go ahead and talk through turn 4. We talked through turn 4, and ultimately what ended up happening was he was only able to kill my Demon Prince. Now, he didn't want to roll it out, but I had him roll it out, and the reason why I had him roll it out was because the Demon Prince was at 6 wounds. He could reroll all Disgusting Resilience of 1, and he had chosen to shoot just the big cannons at a PVC and all the small cannons at the Demon Prince. And actually, the Demon Prince only died on the very, very last few shots. That's how resilient that damn Demon Prince was. And also, he probably actually wouldn't have even died if the Raven Guard trait wasn't in effect, oddly enough. The Raven Guard trait is actually what put it over and allowed him to kill him with bolters and stuff like that. So, but his dice did abandon him about, I'd say, turn 3 and 4, his dice weren't very good. My dice weren't very good round 1 and 2, so we kind of balanced out. Like, I was rolling saves, but I couldn't do much else. And yeah, we talked about a lot of things. He's going to the Pro Tabletop Gaming Tournament, so I wished him good luck in that. And a 20-21 win, real slim margin. And no, he was a great opponent. I had a lot of fun, and I did not once. There was like 3 times I thought I was gonna get paired up with my buddy Willie because he was like right above me in the standings, and I don't know if they did that on purpose, but we never got paired up. So so thank you for Field of Fire. They're actually really good about that, in that if they knew you came with somebody else from your shop, they try not to pair you together unless like they absolutely have to. Like, y'all are on the top 3 tables. Obviously, they're not going to pair you down or whatever. So me being the draw, I guess, made it easier on them because they're like, well, we can pair him with somebody else who's got 3 wins and a loss because he's got a draw. We don't have to pair him with the guy right next to him. So now, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to my buddy Riddick. So my buddy Riddick brought his demons, and he didn't do very well. So, but shout out to you, buddy. He tried his best. He brought 60 bloodletters, and bloodletters didn't do him very well. Shout out to my buddy Willie. He took 6th, right above me with his Iron Hands list. He was running 2 flyers and 2 repulsors and a Leviathan. So, really interesting take on the meta list, and congratulations, buddy. He's not gonna let me hear the end of it. He's not. I'm just letting you guys know. He was like, "Hey, I don't talk to losers." Yesterday, I was like, "You're literally 1 place ahead of me." He's like, "Yeah, but that you're below me, so you're a loser." So, well, he's a lot of fun. He's a funny guy. And then shout out to Robert from the Maelstrom Gaming shop that I play at, and he went up there. He handed out a free GT ticket, and he actually got a bunch more people to sign up for the Maelstrom GT. So please, if you guys are in North Carolina or the surrounding states, Virginia and South Carolina, head on over to the Maelstrom Games GT. It's their very first GT, 32 person, and it's all in their shop there in Hampstead. Hampstead's got some very, very nice hotels, nice restaurants and stuff like that. So and right next to the beach. We're literally right next to the beach. So come check them out and come hang out with me. I'll be there. So definitely not bringing this list. So on to the list. So the Nurgle Demon Engines, I'm going to officially retire them as of yesterday. And the reason for that is the list, while I think that it's good, it is incredibly swingy. Random shots, random amount of damage for most of my weapons. There was a few turns that I really was like, I was feeling it real bad. The Iron Hands matchup with Alan, I could not kill a single speeder with 2 Venom Crawlers. Yeah. Hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, wounding on 3s, no. and I even got first turn, you know. I had another Venom Crawler, put 1 wound on a damn Invictor Warsuit. Like my mortars, while really good, in some matchups they just weren't doing much. Against Connor and his Thousand Sons, I literally only killed a 10-man gore squad on turn 1, going first with all my mortars, all my sluggers, and all 3 Venom Crawlers shooting. And I put like a wound on a armorer. So it just shows you, like, while I think the list has a lot of bite and it can be very, very good, it's super dice dependent. And if you have a list that's incredibly dice dependent like this one, it can punish you. It can punish you real, real bad. Luckily, there was a few times my opponents made either key target priority errors or, just didn't do what they were probably supposed to. Another problem with the list is everything blows up on 5s. Like everything, all 3 PPCs and all 3 Venom Crawlers. And actually, in game 5 against Charles, there was one turn he literally wasn't going to kill very much, and then a Venom Crawler blew up and killed one of my Lord Discordants and a Nurgling base, which gave him 3 kills right there. Because I'd already used a dice reroll for an armor save, which kept the Lord Discordant alive. I just did not expect my Venom Crawler to blow up right next to it and do 3 mortal wounds, which was exactly what he needed. And he had nothing else to shoot at the Lord Discordant, which meant I would have had 2 Lord Discordants going into the next turn. And this happened multiple times during the tournament where a Venom Crawler would explode when I really didn't want it to. And so I was actually using CP rerolls to not blow up because it was not an opportune time. So, yeah. So, yeah, I definitely saw the errors, and then against Alan in particular, that showed me just how much the list relied on Epidemus, because he was able to kill Epidemus turn 1, like literally I had no tally, no nothing. I just kind of fell apart, you know. I wasn't getting the extra attacks, I wasn't getting my Demon Prince rerolls, so like I had to keep the Demon Princes near the Venom Crawlers, so my Demon Prince couldn't just go off and do his own thing. So snipers are really, really hard. The only reason in game 5 I was able to even withstand as much as I did was Charles' dice did not go very good, and I actually was able to make saves against Alan. He just did so many more. He did like 7 mortal wounds with those scouts. Like that's just, yeah. Functionally, there was no way, and I failed all the disgusting resilience on the mortals, which meant I literally only had 1 wound against all the other normal ones. So it was real bad. But and so it just showed me just how much this game, the list, like I said, I like the list a lot. It's a lot of fun. I've played it quite a bit. You guys have seen it on battle reports. But yeah, in a true competitive game, the things that you can take the most chance out of are always better. And so I went ahead, I figured for my first GT, I'd go ahead and take the list that I've been practicing the most with. And obviously it can win. It can. There's no doubt about that. Just like anything, like it can win. It can beat Space Marines. It can beat Knights. It can beat Elder Flyers. It can. It's just, it can't do it probably every single game if I were to put it on the table and did the exact same things, and my opponent did the exact same things, because it relies on dice. So, because, you know, my Venom Crawlers could roll 2 shots and I could end up missing and so on and so forth. So, but it's a great list. I had a lot of fun with it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the battle reports with it. And I hope you guys have enjoyed my report of the Crozius GT. So going forward, I will be testing out other things. And as you guys have been on the channel, you guys have been hearing me talking to some high-profile Chaos players. And they've kind of sparked some ideas in my head. My model collection is slowly growing, so I can give you guys more varied and unique battle reports. Seems like a lot of people are liking the Mortarion battle report I literally just put out. So maybe I'll put him on the table some more. Working at getting a Magnus. I really want a Magnus to test out TJ's list and my variation of TJ's list, because I have some ideas. And no, it's been a lot of fun, and thank you guys for watching. I know this was a long one, and as always, if you guys enjoyed this, please check out our Patreon page. Any money helps. The patronage for this month actually went towards this GT. Helped me to secure one of the Helldrakes and went towards gas. So, yeah, thank you guys. You guys are helping the channel, helping us grow. I actually got a lot of subs. I think I got like 15 of the players there. They subbed to me, and it was great to meet. So another shout out, now that I'm remembering, shout out to Xavier. He is a channel subscriber, and we actually talked a lot about his. He was running the Dorado Dreadnought list, so talked a lot about it. Told him my thoughts. I told him, hey, try out Iron Wars. I think Iron Wars Dorados might actually be a thing. So I'm actually testing out Iron Wars Contemptors today. So, and another shout out to Connor. So Connor didn't know about the channel. Shout out to the guys who did sub. Jonathan subbed. Jacob subbed. So a lot of new subs there. Shout out to Patrick. Patrick, he said hi in the comment when I said I was going to the GT, and I actually did meet him. Nice guy. And yeah. So a lot of fun, and yeah, can't wait for my next GT in December. So hopefully I see you guys at the Maelstrom. And until then, gotta finish my spiel. Check us out on Facebook, and obviously sub if you're here watching this, sub, and check out our Discord channel because we're always on there talking. You guys can see the lists that I play there, and talk to me directly. So as always, see you guys later. Oh, and Heretic Wargaming, where Chaos reigns.